What is up, everybody? This is Danny Rocksteady checking in with you. Welcome and thanks for checking out our new video. I know it's been a while since we've seen each other last, but I do have some great content lined up for you guys over the next few weeks that I think you guys will really enjoy. Much more well thought out videos and maybe some collabs coming your way. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. In today's video, we'll be discussing the iDrive throttle controller system for the 5th generation Toyota RAV4. From here, I'll go ahead and send you through the intro and I'll see you guys on the other side. iDrive was actually generous enough to send me one of their new throttle controllers, specifically designed for the 2019 and up Toyota RAV4. And so before I get into my thoughts and opinions, let's go ahead and break down the unit, the installation, and some of the key features of the iDrive.
The iDrive unit itself is comprised of two parts. The EVC assembly, this is the part that will be installed to your factory throttle assembly,
and the EVC driver interface.
This is what your EVC assembly will connect to and how you will interact and change the drive settings on your iDrive.
Modern vehicles use a drive-by-wire system, which basically means that your throttle pedal is not directly connected to your throttle body. Instead, when you press on your gas pedal, that input is being turned into an electric signal that your ECU is using to determine how wide to open your throttle. What the iDrive does is allows drivers to adjust the throttle pedal's responsiveness to input to fit their driving style.
The iDrive offers two driving modes, Ultimate and Eco. Ultimate mode increases your pedal's responsiveness, so your throttle opens more with less travel of the pedal. Eco mode decreases your pedal's responsiveness, so you actually need to give it more pedal to open up the throttle.
Both Ultimate and Eco have 10 settings of sensitivity each.
There is also an auto control, which is essentially a smart mode that decides the responsiveness based on how you're driving. You can also set it back to factory settings without having to remove the iDrive.
Installation for the iDrive on the 2019 and newer Toyota RAV4s is actually pretty straightforward. For those of you who follow the Blue Yoda 4 build on Instagram, you may have seen the iDrive install that I shared on my IG stories. If you haven't, you can still check out that content saved as a story highlight.
In the footwell of the driver's seat, you'll need to locate the throttle pedal assembly. You can unclip some of this plastic trim by removing these two screws like I'm doing here. Disconnect the factory connector. If yours is like mine, the connector from the factory has a bit of a vacuum seal to it, so you'll need to break the seal by wiggling it a bit. There's a clip, as you can see here, that faces inboard that you'll have to release. Install the iDrive's EVC assembly into the throttle pedal, then install the factory connector into the iDrive assembly. Once you've decided on a place to mount the iDrive's driver interface, you can connect the cord with the one from the EVC assembly. I mounted mine here right below the start-stop button. The RAV4's dash plastics don't seem to hold adhesives from mounting tape very well, so I use a base layer of Gorilla Tape, which does seem to stick to this dash, and an additional layer of mounting tape for thickness, and it seems to be holding well. The iDrive draws its power from the pedal assembly, so there's no need to wire a power source or even have to worry about powering on and off your iDrive unit.
So I've been running the iDrive in the RAV4 now for about 2 months, logged about 2,300 miles. I've done a road trip from eastern Arizona all the way back here to Southern California. I've done a little bit of light trailing, and I've also done my everyday commute with the iDrive installed. The most noticeable thing you're going to experience right off the bat is going to be the improvement in your throttle response. There's virtually no lag. As soon as you step on the gas, the car feels like it's ready to go. Especially with this all-wheel drive system, it enhances what that 8-speed transmission is really capable of doing, especially at the low end. You don't really get any improvement in terms of your horsepower or torque numbers, but you do get a much better driving experience with this iDrive installed. And so to be clear, with this iDrive installed, you're not going to be really affecting your bottom line numbers, your horsepower numbers, your torque numbers. Those are going to be exactly the same. The improvements that you're going to be experiencing with the iDrive throttle control system is going to be your throttle response. Your RAV4 is going to feel like it's ready to go as soon as you step on that gas. In terms of long road trips, your iDrive is not going to trip up anything in terms of the factory system. Your cruise control is still going to be able to function properly. For those of you who are wondering, yes, my radar cruise control still does work. I haven't run into any issues with the retrofit that I did in the other video. That being said, however, at the end of the day, you are still modifying a component of your Toyota Safety Sense system. So keep that in mind when you do a mod like the TRD grill, that you do so at your own risk. For those of you who might be wondering about the factory drive modes, the eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode, all of those still function the same even with the iDrive. If anything, the iDrive is enhancing these drive modes because you are getting more of an instant throttle response, but you are still being able to utilize some of the shift timing that is set with the things like the sport mode, where it seems to be set to shift at a higher RPM so that you're getting more out of the power band before shifting to the next gear. So with the iDrive installed, especially with something like ultimate mode, where you're getting a lot more throttle right off the bat, in conjunction with the later shift time, you're able to get up to speed a lot faster than just using sport mode by itself. And finally, I'm sure there's a lot of questions regarding things like miles per gallon. That seems to be a typical question regarding any mods that I've done with this rig. And overall, the iDrive didn't seem to affect my miles per gallon too much. Before the iDrive, I was getting around 24.5 miles per gallon. I'm still at around 24, 23.5 maybe. So I maybe lost 1 mile per gallon, but that I attribute more to driving a little bit more aggressively because of the response and how lively the car feels. So that is likely where I'm losing that extra mile per gallon. And that being said, the mode that I pretty much leave the iDrive in is the auto control mode. I think it does a good job of putting the throttle response where it needs to be. So I have set it on auto control and have left it as such. I played with eco mode a little bit and I was not a big fan of eco mode. It definitely dampens your throttle by a lot. The pedal's almost halfway down to the metal before you get any type of throttle. And in the ultimate mode, it's almost too sensitive. You barely apply any pressure on that throttle and your needle is flying up to the red line. In my opinion, the auto control is a great setting. It's a good blend of the two. It adds that extra bit of liveliness that the RAV4 was missing from the factory. If you're interested in one of these iDrive systems for your 2019 and up RAV4, at checkout on iDrive-usa.com, you'll be able to save 10% off your purchase with the code BlueYoda4. If you have any questions that I didn't quite cover about the iDrive in this video, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you guys. And so there you have it, folks. This is Danny Rocksteady. Thanks for checking out a new episode and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one.